Hey guys, I am going to show you some examples for adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators in this video. So this is from those few pages that had all of the fractions on them, and the instructions said to cut out the fraction and the whole numbers and then use these fractions to create different equations to practice all of your operations with fractions. Okay, so what I went ahead and did is I actually separated my fractions into the pile that has 2 digits on the bottom and then a pile that just has single digits on the bottom of my fraction. Okay, so these are more for a challenge, and these are to kind of go along with what we practiced in the classroom. Okay, so for my demonstration today, I'm going to use the single digit fractions. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out 2 fractions. So we have 3/5 and we have 4/9, and I'm going to first start off with adding fractions. So we're going to add fractions with unlike denominators. So we have 4/9 plus 3/5. Okay, what do you first notice about these fractions? These fractions do not have common denominators. Can we add fractions with unlike denominators? No, we can't. So we have to find a common denominator. And we do that by listing the multiples of our denominators. A lot of you can look at this and you automatically know what your new denominator needs to be, and that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and list my multiples to the side and see what numbers they have in common, okay? So I'm going to list my multiples for 9. So 9, 18, 27, 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5. And I always told y'all to just go to 5. And then if you need to go on later, you can do more. But just to start out, just multiply to 5. Okay, now we have 5. This one's easy. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Obviously, I know the math fact for 9 and 5, for 9 times 5. So I know I'm going to need to keep going to list these multiples. All right, and I'm going to look and see what number do they have in common. They have 45 in common, and you always want to choose the first number that they have in common. If you don't choose the first number, you're not wrong. You're just probably going to have to do more simplifying. So by choosing the least common denominator, you're setting yourself up to not have to simplify as much after you've done your adding. Okay, so now that I have my least common denominator, now I need to create equivalent fractions so that I can change their denominators, okay? So I have 4/9, and I'm going to find an equivalent fraction with the denominator 45. Okay, so I ask myself, 9 times what is 45? 9 times 5. If you multiply the bottom times 5, you have to multiply the top times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So my new fraction for 4/9, I'm not changing the value of 4/9. I'm just changing the way that we're representing it. So now we're going to represent it as 20 over 45. Okay, now I need to find my equivalent fraction for 3/5. Okay, so we have 3/5, and I'm going to set it up, and I always say 3/5 equals something over 45. And you ask yourself, what times 5 is 45? Well, we know it's 9. If you multiply the bottom by 9, you have to multiply the top by 9. 3 times 9 is 27. So now you have 27 over 45, right? And now you can just add straight across because you have common denominators, okay? So 20 plus 27 is 47. We do not add our denominator. We keep the denominator the same, okay? So now we have 47 over 45. What do you notice about this fraction? 47 over 45. It's improper. Do we like to leave our fractions improper as our answer? No, we don't. So I'm going to just do a quick review for those of you who may not have watched my other video. And we're going to change this into a mixed number. So you may be able to tell that you have one whole here and you have 2 remaining. And so you would be able to just change this to 1 and 2 over 45 and you would be done. That's fine. But if it does not come to you that quickly, then just remember that this fraction bar, it means to divide. So we're going to do 47 divided by 45. Okay, 45 can go into 47 once. 45 times 1 is 45. We're going to subtract. 47 minus 45 is 2. Now, when we're working with fractions, a lot of us have a habit of just popping this 2 up here with a decimal. That is not what we do. When we're working with well, we never do that ever for anything, but for fractions, we're not turning this into a decimal. We're not saying remainder 2, any of that. We're going to turn this into a decimal. So this remainder means we have 2 of the 45 left over. That's what your leftover means. So we're going to represent that. We're going to say we have 2 out of 45. And that's what we said right here, right? So it's 1 and 2 over 45. Okay, so that is an example for adding fractions with unlike denominators. And I think I'm going to go ahead and make a different video for the subtracting so that that one's easy to click on. Okay, let me know if you need anything on that.